We meet again. Last week, I posted a video about 9 ways to improve your life, and I got over 100 views, and I have not reached that amount of viewers this whole time for all the posts that I posted. I've been posting for like a year. So that led me to believe that y'all need help. Y'all need some serious help. So I'ma help you. Okay. Obviously by the title of this video, you know that I'm about to talk about loving yourself and getting out of hating yourself. And I just want to start off again by saying I'm not a licensed therapist. None of the things that I say are ultimately facts. They just come from my experience because I used to hate myself. So learning from that and being able to share it with you to see if it'll help you as well. It might not, but ultimately it is up to you at the end of the day, because obviously when you finish this video, you're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, she is so inspiring, I did it, I love myself. That's not how this works. I'm basically just gonna be telling you how I started to love myself again, and how things I went through and things I experienced and things I learned from what I experienced led me to this point. So, starting off, the first thing about hating yourself is you have to realize you have to do, this is where like the work comes in. The work is you have to go in your past, which obviously isn't a very, you know, great thing to do all the time, but in this case we have to go in the past in order to learn from it, because you have to figure out the reason why you hate yourself. Because ultimately no one in their mind is just flips a switch and looks at themselves in the mirror and is like, I hate myself. Like, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. It has to come from how someone treated you, an experience you had when you were little. It usually happens when you're a child, when you're smaller. So the older you are, the harder it can be to go into the past and get those memories, especially if you blocked out a lot of them. So ultimately that's what you have to do to figure out why you hate yourself in the first place, or why you started hating yourself in the first place. This can be anything from getting cheated on, or being bullied, or even not getting enough attention as a child can be a huge one that people don't realize. It could be just a toxic relationship, being abused mentally, physically, those kind of things. It can get really deep, really dark, but you have to be able to look for those experiences and realize that's when you started to switch that kind of mindset, because no child is going to think to themselves and be like, I hate the way I look, I hate the way I whatever, all that stuff. So that's the first step. That's the first step, which is a hard step. One, not only to just go back into the past, but also to just trying to find it. Like, it's hard to go back in your memories and find that kind of stuff, but you know, it takes time and it takes focus as well, which is important. But after that, after pinpointing an experience or a person or some sort of behavior that you experienced as a child or teenager or whenever, you have to realize that those behaviors and those experiences had absolutely nothing to do with you. They never, ever have anything to do with you. Ever. Let me explain. So, let's say you got bullied, you know, as a kid. I got bullied as a kid, but it wasn't because I was ugly, or because I was supposed to get bullied, or because I was this person that everybody hated or whatever. It's because other people hate themselves. Other people feel shitty about themselves, so they want you to feel shitty with them, to make themselves feel better. That's ultimately a huge thing. When you get cheated on, it's not because you weren't enough, it's because they weren't enough for themselves. They have a lack of, whether it be confidence, whether it be anything, they try to find that in other people, and when it doesn't help, they try to find it in someone else, and whatever. Ultimately, it all comes down to the truth of those people don't like themselves either. That's why they want to make you feel like you don't like yourself, because they don't, and they want you to feel the same thing, because that's how projection works. That's how people who think negatively of themselves project it onto other people because they don't know any better. They don't know anything else but to do that because that's what they're experiencing all the time. So, but what I don't want you to do, this is the last thing I want you to do, I don't want you to go back and to figure out like a specific person or a specific group that made you ultimately hate yourself and to start hating them. Because that's not gonna do you any justice at all. Because at the end of the day, humans are stupid. We're so stupid. We don't know any better, especially when we're kids. Even when we're adults. I'll meet some adults who I'm like, how do you have kids? You know what I mean? Like people are stupid. They don't know any better. They don't know that how their actions are being received and how much they're affecting other people because they're so in their own worlds and in their own perspectives. So ultimately you can't put the blame on someone else because it makes you feel better, because you're still doing the same cycle. You're still having this negative hate in yourself and you don't want to have that. You want to learn to put yourself in these people's shoes and think, why would you ever want to do that? Even when it comes to like really terrible things that people do, because ultimately people do bad things because bad things happen to them. And it's just a cycle of disgusting negativity and abuse and toxic stuff and just like humanity and like, it's really gross. But at the end of the day, you being the bigger person and seeing from different perspectives and realizing why people do these things will make you feel so much better because A, it had nothing to do with you in the first place, and B, it just gives you more empathy towards other people and to realize, hey, like, because you were going through such bad things and putting it out on me, I don't even know where I'm going with this. Where am I going with this? I don't know. Ultimately, I keep saying that. I don't know why I keep saying that. All in all, don't blame other people because people do shitty things because shitty things happen to them. End of the story. Anyways, next point. Another point is when for example, when I didn't like myself, I didn't even know who I was. Like if someone asked me, what do you like to do in your free time? I wouldn't know how to answer that question. I didn't know the things I like to do. I didn't know my favorite colors. I didn't know my favorite whatever. I didn't know because I was so focused on everybody else. And I was so involved in everybody else's lives that I didn't even know who I was. Like, so I couldn't even fall in love with anybody because I didn't know who I was. I didn't spend any time with myself. And that's what you have to do in order to learn more about yourself, is you have to spend time with yourself. And a lot of it. A lot of time. You know, especially when it comes to going in the past and reliving those experiences, you're obviously going to have a lot of emotional turmoil, and emotions are going to come up. And I don't want you to ignore those emotions either. You can't ignore them. You can't just push them down. You can't push past them. You have to feel them in order for them to come out of your body, in order for them to release and to make yourself feel way lighter than you already are. And it's a process. It could take years. I'm still like learning how to love myself, you know. So, and when it comes to experiencing emotions like sadness or anger, it's like when you experience sadness, like you just need to cry. Like you just need to cry, scream. When you're angry, go for a run, punch a pillow, scream at a pillow, scream in your car. Like, get it out. Get it out. Get it out. It doesn't need to be here. But you have to feel it. You have to feel the sadness. You have to feel the anger. You have to feel the frustration. You have to feel the embarrassment. You have to feel it all in order to release it. So, yeah. And just spending time with yourself, learning who you really are, learning about the things you like to do, learning why you should love yourself, learning your personality traits, that kind of thing. And also, especially with the internet and everybody posting fake stuff, half the internet is fake. It's just fake. It's people pretending to be happy, people pretending to be in love, people pretending to be having the perfect lives. You cannot compare yourself to other people because you don't know who other people are either, especially when it comes to the internet. You know, you could see someone and they look like they have the perfect house, the perfect husband, perfect kids, and they could be miserable. And you wouldn't even know because it's all for show. It's just a performance. So when you look at, especially like even if you're like walking down the street and you see someone and they're beautiful and they look so happy, you don't know what could be going on in there. That too. You never know what people are going on. So yeah, this was a bit less organized than my other video. I'm kind of just rambling, honestly. But it takes practice, and again, it's about consistency and showing up for yourself every day. But I feel like even if you're watching this video and you clicked on it because of the title, that shows that you ultimately want to love yourself. And that in itself is you loving yourself, is wanting to better yourself. And that's also a huge thing about loving yourself, is you constantly want to better yourself. Constantly. That's a huge sign of self-love. Like, you know, wanting to improve your body or eat healthier or, you know, treat yourself more, self-care more, all those things all together ultimately leads up to you wanting to do better for yourself. And that's a huge sign of you wanting to love yourself. And that's great. And the great thing about loving yourself is once you love yourself, first of all, you don't care what anybody else thinks. You don't care. Especially when you realize that people who hate on you are just projecting. Because then you just feel bad. Because it's like, that's on you. That's your problem, not mine. And once you learn that, it's, you don't care. You don't care. And not only that, but because you show so much love for yourself, other people will also start to show love to you. Other people will start to see how you see yourself. Because that's how, you know, it's all like projection. Because you love yourself, other people will start to see the things you love about yourself, because that's what you're projecting, versus someone who doesn't like themselves and is projecting all this negativity and hate and blah blah blah. So yeah, but at the end of the day, just be kind to others and have empathy. Be empathetic, because people are going through some fucked up shit, okay? And people can do fucked up things, but they're also going through fucked up shit. And obviously I'm not giving an excuse for any horrible things that someone has done to you, because obviously no one deserves to be going through any type of abuse or bullying or cheating or whatever, but at the end of the day, that's life. That's life. I was gonna say something else. I forgot. Brick. Oh, I think this also has to do with having gone through things in the past, and a huge part of that also is having to accept that those people who treated you badly will probably never apologize. So you have to come to terms with that as well, because either they're afraid, or they don't care, or they're dealing with a bunch of other stuff. Either way, 90% of the time you won't get an apology. And that's okay. Because you don't need an apology. Because you know why that stuff was happening. So, yeah, I guess I'll end it here. Hopefully you were able to keep up with my word vomit. But, yeah, so hope you have learned something or gained some sort of information from me rambling. But, yeah, I want to do videos like this in the future, but I have to figure out, because obviously I want to talk about things that I know, you know what I mean? So I'm not sending out false information, but I definitely want to be doing this in the future, where I just talk about things that, I don't know, like helping people and helping them improve their lives and stuff. I think is really cool. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking because I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, and I'll see you next week. I don't know what the video is gonna be about, but we'll freaking see. Have a good night, have a good day, have a good life. Wait, I need a thumbnail. No. What the frick was that? What's a face for how to not hate yourself? How to not hate yourself. Yeah. Okay, I'm done.